Hey, I'm Nicholas from Mixdown with almost all of Circles. Almost 75% of Circles. Um, you guys have been touring the last one for a while now. You
Yeah,
guys
man.
have done a fair amount of shows. You've done a few different kind of Australian tours. You've done Europe, is that correct?
Yeah.
As well? Yeah.
Yep.
How has the reaction been to taking the songs to a live setting and you having the daunting task of playing and singing songs every night?
Good, man. Good. Yeah. Like it's a bit of a shift for us from
Yeah.
our previous releases and that sort of thing. So it's always a nerve-wracking experience to change up a lineup and release music that doesn't sound exactly like it used to sound and
Of
that
course.
sort of stuff. So yeah, for those sort of conditions, it's been amazing. Like received really well, and yeah, stoked with it, man. Really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
How are you, Ben?
Yeah.
I'm doing great.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, it has been super positive, and because I was sort of involved with the last one, I could write parts that sort of made sense to sing and play at the same time.
Sure.
It's more the older stuff that messes with my head. The stuff
Yeah.
off Infinitus, trying to play that and sing at the same time, that's where I have to sort of block everyone else out and
Give you the easy bits.
yeah.
No, and I think that's the thing. It's a good point. I hadn't really thought about it because when you're creating it, you get to kind of be like, what's economical for me as a guitarist? What can I give to this guy? And be like, play it. Whereas obviously, taking music that you, let's say, inherited as
Yeah.
far as like, oh, no, that's stupid. That's real stupid. So yeah, daunting. And so with that in mind, is the set list very much like, here's what's obtainable for me, and here's definitely what's not.
Not necessarily. I think we just try and choose whatever set list we think will sound best, and then I just have to deal with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you work overtime?
Yeah, well, the advantage of technology, we do have some things in the backing track that help us with the guitar part. So not necessarily like whole guitar parts, but layers that we use on the record. So we put those in the backing track, so they do feel like the sound, whereas we don't have to play
Textural
in
stuff,
unison.
right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we don't have to play in unison to make things sound as big. But the new songs kind of lean towards that side anyway, so we don't have to have this huge wall of sound. It's kind of more of like an atmospheric kind of vibe.
We're not usually playing the same part.
Yeah.
It's usually,
Yeah.
me playing a more atmospheric part and Ted doing the
Yeah.
gadank-gadank.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
the rhythmic parts that I think still with the vocals, because
That's
it's
it,
kind of
yeah.
like doing that whole head thing.
No,
It's
you're
like,
right.
yeah.
If it's steady, like even if it's riffy as hell with the left hand, as long as it keeps moving, it's great.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I think it becomes that weird muscle memory thing where if you actually have to think on one or the other, you're doing it. You're like, that's what messes you up. Whereas I think that if you fall into, as someone who plays guitar and sings a lot, I find that when I'm not consciously thinking about it, it makes a lot more sense. 'Cause
Absolutely.
Like muscle memory kind of kicks in. You go, oh no, that's okay. But I think the moment I psych myself out about a riff is when I play it horribly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh nah.
There's one part in the song Arrival, it's like a bridge section and everyone's playing a different rhythm. And in that section, you just have to, you can't think. You just have to close your eyes and feel it and hopefully make it through to the end.
Has it gotten easier the more that you do it? The more that you guys have toured a bit and kind of like the rhythms,
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Tesseract tour, I saw you guys on the Tesseract tour, was very good. How is Europe?
Really long. Yeah.
Okay.
Europe's always fun. Europe's always a fun time. You get to play shows every single day, almost. And you get to see the part of the world that you normally don't get to see. So
Right.
it's people say, oh, it's like a holiday, man. How fun is it? It's like, well, you don't really get to see much of it. Like
People don't understand that it's like, oh yeah, you went to Paris, but you didn't see Paris because you arrived after your 8 to 12 hour drive, got to the venue, hopefully did a sound check, and then be like, yeah, but the venue's relatively nice.
Yeah, so there were some nights where, like when we were in Prague, we got there pretty late, load in, sound check, play the gig, load out, and then
Maybe
we
get
had
some dinner.
maybe dinner, and then we had like an hour. We had, I think, the bus left at like 1 a.m. and we finished everything at like
So you get a
11:30 or
4 block
12.
radius around the venue to go get like a meal after the show, and then
Pretty
you're like,
much.
well, bus call.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes you'd have to run to
We're
see
breaking down
something.
the stigma about like touring is so awesome. It's like, no, it's not.
Well, it depends, because like if people say like, oh, Barcelona is amazing, or like, oh, Paris is amazing, you're like, yeah, cool, but it's like going, I don't know, if you're obviously from Melbourne, you would know. So if you come from overseas to Melbourne, but you play out in Frankston, and all you see is Frankston, you think, oh, Melbourne's shit, man. Like, it's like, no, Melbourne's
Frankston.
yeah. I'm not saying Frankston's shit, but
Franger.
yeah.
But also, no, there's the thing, and at least Australians, I think, would understand it, because it's like, so last night the Ocean played in Adelaide, and then they had to hustle their way to Melbourne this morning to kind of get here. But if you're driving that, it's an 8.5 hour drive or whatever.
It's rough.
So
Yeah.
again, it's like if you're doing a van tour in Australia, you understand the distances, but just apply that to Europe, because it's like, we played here, now we've got an 8 and a bit hour drive to get to the next place.
Yeah, one of the drives was, I think when we went from, 20-something hours.
Oh, it was a 30 hour with stops. It was like 30
With
hours.
stops, yeah.
I slept for about 28.
Wait, we're from two.
That was from, I think, maybe Switzerland to Slovenia.
It was all the way east. It was like
Yeah.
from pretty much from east to west Europe.
Who routed that shit?
I
That's
don't know,
horrible.
man.
Fired.
That's what we were
Done.
saying at about the 15-hour mark. It's like, why the fuck are we here?
You know it's a long drive when like I look at my phone, and you know when you're overseas and you've got data roaming, it says like, welcome to Slovakia, welcome to Croatia,
Welcome to Hungary.
It's like, you
Yeah.
cross like 4 countries in a row. It's like, oh, okay.
Like again, 30 hours. That's like that's a flight from New Zealand to LA, and
Yeah.
like and change, because that's like 22 hours. So nah.
Yeah,
nah.
yeah.
Horrible. So much Netflix. Yeah, absolutely. I could watch almost all of The West Wing in that time. Progfest day 1. I have been asking everyone this question today. What was the record that thrust you into wanting to be a musician?
Ooh.
I know. Everyone's either got it really easy because they're like, I know this, or they're like, this is so hard, why'd you do it to me?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to show my age here, but it was probably Smash by Offspring.
That's a good record.
The Offspring.
25 years old or something like that now?
Yeah. Like
This
I
year,
was-
25 years, 94.
Yeah, I was like 12 or something,
Cool.
11, and just went, yeah, that's sick. I'm going to play music.
Yeah, sick. Play some riffs.
Yeah.
Hard
yeah.
out.
I didn't know what a riff was yet, but yeah, definitely wanted to just do whatever they were doing, make noise, and yeah, I reckon,
All right.
yeah.
That was relatively easy.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think from about like that same age, 11 or 12 or something, there's like a group of bands. It was like Offspring and Green Day and
Yeah.
Newfound Glory and stuff.
Oh
that
my
sort
God,
of got me
yeah.
started.
Sticks and Stones is like huge.
Sticks
one.
and Stones, yeah,
It's a
exactly. And
great
like that whole
record.
thing, Millencolin and all the Southern Californian stuff.
Totally.
I don't know if there was one record in particular that was like, this is getting me going, but
All right. Yeah, fair.
amalgamation.
There's
of all
something
that.
about that Californian sound that had so much energy as well.
Yeah.
Like all of those guys. And like, when I think about the Bay Area guys, or even like Thrice is one of my favorite bands.
Yep.
And the first couple of Thrice records were just like riffy punk records. And
Mm.
that's that really bass sound, like that Californian sound.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
In that group, Strung Out was like the first one that got me
Strung
really
Out.
like fucking psyched for music.
Riffs, yeah.
Yeah.
Heaps riffs. Ted.
Mine's pretty easy. Grade 2, Show and Tell. I was listening to, I watched Beverly Hills Cop 2, and then I heard that theme song, that bam, 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 you know that one? And I wanted to learn that on piano so bad. So me and my friend, we learned it on piano. I played the bass, the synth bass, the boom, 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 boom.
This is not where I expected this to go.
Yeah. And then he learnt the melody, and then we came together in grade 2, Show and Tell, and got the Casio keyboard out. We both played it, and that was it.
That's a deep cut. That's a very deep
Who
cut.
knew it? Asian on a keyboard.
Pause. In tune with that, the gateway into like progressive music and kind of doing that. Everyone's got a very different angle on what kind of threw them into this microcosm of music. For me, Sense from Memory by Dream Theater, 20 years old this year, huge record for me. You guys?
Sound Awake. Carnival.
The best Australian record ever.
Yeah.
The best.
I know,
Sorry,
it's like, it's,
on
you're going to
record,
hear that
the best
so many
Australian
times.
record ever.
Yeah.
It is. It just is. I don't care.
Yeah.
You can ask anyone at this
pretty much
festival,
anyone here.
will probably say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the whole that Aussie movement sort of thing. Like I was all metal and like Swedish friggin' whatever. I don't even know how
Hells
to
yeah.
like pigeonhole the shit anymore. I don't know how to say it, but big metalhead, like your soil work sort of bands and
Stabbing the drama,
that's
bro.
that sort of stuff.
Oh.
But then you hear it's a sick album.
It's such a
I
sick
listened to that the other
album.
day actually just to go, oh yeah, it's still pretty cool. But yeah, then you get your Butterfly Effect and your Cog and your Carnival and that sort of stuff and go, oh yeah, this is kind of cool. This is kind of like coming from just to, something that has those certain, melodies and nice things that perk your ears up. That was probably me getting me.
It's so funny that you say that and that you say that as well, because I feel that Sound Awake is quite literally the unsung hero of progressive music in Australia. And I'm not even being a dick about it because I love it, but everyone that I talk to in this scene of music, it's just universally like that was the one that changed everything.
Mm.
Do
Like
you know what I
the
mean?
Martyr was sick and still is sick
Yeah.
and has so many good riffs and sort of like
Sound Awake is
hints.
them carving their lane and being like, this is us and this is
Yeah.
our thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And plus that drum part at the start of Set Fire to the Hive is sick.
Yeah.
Steve Judd forever, everyone.
That drum part in any song that Steve Judd plays
Yeah.
is sick.
Well, that goes like international as well. Ask the Monuments dude, and they'll probably say, yeah, Sound Awake.
And
Yeah.
that's true. It's not just Australia. It is very much like I know that a lot of those American guys, like the Periphery dudes, the Contortionist dudes, and all of that, are very much like, yeah, Sound Awake was our first expose into Australian kind of progressive music. But again, it's a record that scaled them to an international level. But it's also it's the proof in the pudding that like I don't care how long it takes for a Carnival record, but because when it happens, it's gonna fuck me up. So
Yeah.
I think that kind of not really sucks, but I think a lot of international bands and like artists forget is that I personally think the Cog kind of paved the way for Carnival to do their thing.
Oh, absolutely.
they built the platform,
Yeah, I think
definitely.
so. In terms of like really progressive music, and I feel like they didn't really hit the international market as hard maybe as Carnival had,
But they're heading to Europe
they had
soon.
I guess it comes to a right time, right place thing, because obviously Cog preceded Carnival by a few years, and then I think by the time the Martyr grew Carnival on a national level, but Sound Awake was the one where like, oh shit, everyone's paying attention. And so I think had Cog come a little bit later, might have been different, might have been a right time, right place thing for them. Also, power to Cog for being even harder than you and doing a three-piece, because that shit is insane.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, I think there's something to be said about the bedrock of this culture in Australian music that is built on such solid foundation of those bands, especially those early Butterfly Effect records as well were really important records in Australia.
Yep.
And to see a lot of those bands, especially Cog coming back and really triumphantly doing really well.
Yeah.
Carnival kind of taking a little bit of time and coming back to doing their thing. Dealer's Circus.
Anytime, guys.
Yeah, just fucking hop on that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, like again, it's something that I think is the little thing that could kind of just keeps doing its thing and keep moving forward. And
Yeah, and then you have got people like Dead Letter Circus that are like the mainstays that sort of they're just so consistent. And while we're waiting for everyone else, Dead Lettuce like keeps on providing and just letting everyone know and like keeping that Australian prog sound.
but keep
like, in
doing bigger
everyone's
rooms
ears.
as well.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
Like, it's
They keep the standard up for sure. Like,
Yeah.
We just recently toured with the Mexican Terminals wearing all their shirts. Yeah. Free plug, dudes. Free plug.
You can get that one for free.
Yours. But anyway, yeah, they kind of set the bar and then they keep it consistent. So there's always the bands that come up and then you go and tour with bands like Dead Letter and you go, oh, this is how you're meant to tour and this is how you're meant to play. And not only like technically how to play, but just as dudes as well. Like they hold themselves really well and really welcoming and they have no egos or anything like that. So it was a big lesson for us when we toured with them is how to be a headliner band and not and just be cool. Yeah.
something to be said about that, isn't it? Like, it's really important for a band to. I guess it's quite affronting to be like, this is how you do it, and this is how you keep doing it, and this is the way that we've been a band for so long as well. Because it's like lessons learned, you know. Like, we should always so lucky to have a band just kind of be like, just a friendly reminder, this is how to not be a dick. Absolutely. Excellent. Thanks so much for taking the time to have a chat.
Thanks for chatting
Awesome,
with us,
boys.